Welcome to Thursday Morning Conversations at Highland Presbyterian Church. I am Doodle Harris, Associate Pastor, and we're joined today by Ben Weaver, our organist at Highland. Hi, Ben.
Hi, Doodle.
How are you, Ben?
I'm all right. Pretty good.
Good. Have you noticed that our show does not have a theme song?
Yeah, I noticed it when you were whistling your own tune.
Do you want to help us have a theme song for our show?
No, I'm good.
All right, Ben. I'll take it as I'll think about it.
Okay.
All right, some announcements at Highland this week. Today, this afternoon, happy hour. Join other members of Highland Pres online. Bring your favorite beverage if you like, and join with others at 4 o'clock for conversation. Also, this Sunday afternoon, confirmation class will be taught by Megan McCarty. She'll be talking about missiology, mission, and why we do what we do at Highland Presbyterian Church. Hang tight, because in a couple of weeks, on Sunday, January the 24th, we have a couple of other things you can join in on. The family scavenger hunt is at 3 o'clock. We'll be giving out prizes to the winners of each of the categories that day. Ben, can one of those prizes be you playing a song for someone?
Sure, if we can consider that.
Maybe you can take requests on a Sunday. Man, there's no telling what request you'd get.
Yeah, that might be a little dicey. Yeah.
The other thing, on January the 24th at 4 o'clock, our new adult ed series on grief will begin that day. And so if that's something you're interested in, we hope you will join us on the 24th for either the family scavenger hunt or the program on grief, or both. Ben, we have some birthdays in our church this week. So I'm going to share with everybody the birthdays from January the 10th to the 16th. Happy birthday, Dennis Burke. Happy birthday, Oliver Gulick, one of our favorite college students. Happy 100th birthday, BJ Mills. BJ's 100th birthday was this past Tuesday. If you sent her a card, that's wonderful. And if you still want to send a card, we'll take those too. She is so happy to get those. Happy birthday, Dale Thompson. Happy birthday, Ruth Chaffins. Ruth Chaffins was the secretary at Highland Presbyterian Church for over 52 years. Ben, what are you going to be doing in 52 years?
I have no idea. I was really hoping you wouldn't ask me that.
Well, we'll see if you are still the organist at Highland Pres in 52 years. Happy birthday, Kimberly Porter. Happy birthday, Grady Stevens, another one of our favorite college students. Happy birthday, Andrew Vonberg and Joe Frizzo and Terry Fontenot. Happy birthday, Catherine Barrick, Steve Rungworth, Annie Owens, Ben Wood, Margaret Mahaffey, and Olivia Wagner, another one of our college students. It is clearly a great week for birthdays from our college students. Well, those are our announcements and birthdays at Highland Pres. Now we get to ask Ben some questions. Ben, how long have you been at Highland Presbyterian Church?
So I've been here since January 2020, and now it's January 2021. So I've been here for exactly 1 year.
Wow. So does that mean that most of your time at Highland, we've been under quarantine?
For at least 10 months out of those 12 months. So yes.
Wow. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah.
Ben, why did you come to Highland?
Well, I wanted to join a church that had an active ministry, including an active music ministry. And I wanted to go somewhere where the congregation, the church as a whole, supports and is a big supporter of the music and the arts. And I feel very comfortable sharing my musical abilities with a church where I can feel supported.
Well, that's great. And I think we're lucky to have you. You are so talented, Ben. You bring so many different styles and things to the organ that I have enjoyed personally. I think our congregation has enjoyed. So now that you've been here a year, I assume you have by this point acquired some HPC swag.
Just a little bit. I'm wearing one of the shirts today. that you've given me. It's a just a navy blue shirt with some yellow print. It's pretty simple, so I like that.
Ben, when I was younger, I used to say I wanted a job that provided its own wardrobe. So we're trying to do that for you.
Sure. Well, I appreciate that.
So, Ben, of all the things you could do with your life, why did you choose to become an organist?
Well, I think being a musician was always in the cards for me. I originally was doing piano, so going into organ was a bit unexpected, and it wasn't easy at first, but I really enjoy the organ because it's such a unique, diverse, and versatile instrument. There's so many different sounds and sound combinations you can work with. You can play the organ in the context of a church service like I do every Sunday. You can do solo recitals. You can also play with just about any combination of music ensemble as well. And in addition to that, I find playing the organ very intellectually stimulating between the hand coordination and the foot coordination. So I just enjoy all of it.
That's amazing. I read an article several years ago that sort of listed the most difficult things that humans do from a coordination standpoint. And number one was flying a stick shift helicopter, but number two was playing the pipe organ.
Wow.
Does this mean that you are ready for a stick shift helicopter?
I think that's logically the next step. And
Okay.
Obviously it looks like a cockpit behind me, so I think I'm ready. Honestly.
I think you're ready too, Ben. As long as that's your side gig and Highland is still your main gig, I'm okay
Absolutely.
with that. Perfect. Absolutely. Well, we've invited you here because we had some requests for you to show us around the organ. So, Ben, tell us something about the organ that we don't know.
Sure. So I'll show just a few features. I don't know how well you can see, but there are 3 manual keyboards, 1, 2, 3. And you may not be able to see it because I don't have the camera angled downwards, but there's also a pedal keyboard that I play with my feet as well. There are a variety of stops. There are some of the soft stops like the strings, which we can also control with the volume with the swell pedal shape. There's a number of different stops. There are some stops that are meant specifically for the organ itself. These are called principals. We have some reed stops, which vary from oboe. We have some trumpet. Sounds a little different. We have a tuba major, which is a very prominent reed. Some of these reeds can be heard not only in the hands, but on the pedals as well. So the same stop with tuba major can be heard pedals.
Ben, that sounds kind of like you passed gas.
Yeah. The very common sound. If we want to get a little extra obnoxious for it to be very loud, I don't really consider these stops necessarily obnoxious. I think they all have their purpose in the right setting. If we want to get it very obnoxious, so to speak, we can have a trumpet, like a trombone sound, or we can have an even lower sound.
Wow, Ben, that is so low that I can't even hear it.
You couldn't hear it?
Like the frequency is so low, like you feel it, like you don't even really hear it.
Right. Speaking of feeling a vibration, there is one, not necessarily this one, oddly enough, but there's another one that's also called a Subas 32 foot. And it's so low that I can feel the vibration, and sometimes the choir members who usually sit behind me can feel a vibration where they can feel it in the seat. Let me see if I can get that.
Wow, yeah, it's almost easier to sense it, to feel it, than to actually hear it.
Oh yeah, definitely. And of course, this is much easier to see and feel when you're in the sanctuary here in person, as opposed to doing a Zoom call like this. There are a couple of quirky stops as well to the organ. We have some chimes that you might hear when you hear a doorbell ring. And we also have one stop where you just pull it out. You don't have to strike a key or a pedal note, called the Zimbelstern. Can you hear that?
Yeah, it sounds like little bells.
Yeah, it's basically little bells right behind this section of the pipe work. And that's the one stop that you can just pull out and it does all the work for you. And then just push back in when you're finished.
Well, it seems to me like you need more of those stops, Ben.
You want to see more of those stops?
Well, more of the stops that do the work for you.
Oh, yeah, I know, that would be great, but I mostly have to do most of the work and figure that out, unfortunately.
Is that where we get the phrase like pulling out all the stops?
That is literally where that phrase comes from, is pulling out all the stops. So if we want to have a louder sound, this is a medium sound. We can get louder.
That is amazing, Ben. So on any given Sunday morning worship, how many different stop combinations are you using?
On a given Sunday, within the context of playing hymns, I generally have 6 basic settings, ranging from the most quiet all the way through fortissimo or triple fortissimo for everyone to sing, perhaps on the final verse of a loud hymn that everyone recognizes.
That's awesome. So if there were a young person in our congregation that were thinking about being a musician, being an organist, what would you say to them?
It's all, I suppose, circumstantial. It depends on if that person has had musical experience, perhaps with being in the band, orchestra, if they've had piano lessons or some sort of keyboard lessons. So sometimes students are encouraged, at least initially, to play explore piano lessons. In some cases, some students may want to go straight to the organ, and it really just all depends on the student and their ability.
That sounds pretty great. Ben, do you come from a musical family?
I come from there. I've asked some of my family about my musical history, and there are quite a few number of musical members. It happened to skip my parents for whatever reason, but I have a number of, there's grandparents, great aunts, uncles. There have been some cousins with some various levels of musical abilities. And so it's not terribly unusual, although within my immediate family with my parents and my siblings, it's a little unusual.
Okay, well, I'm glad you came from that family and you came all the way to Highland from Texas. Is that right?
Yes, I came from Dallas, Texas.
Great. Oh, well, I think we are lucky to have you. I'm glad to have you on the show today on a Thursday morning. Is there anything else you want to tell us about yourself or the organ that maybe I haven't asked about?
You had mentioned about memory levels. Now, you had mentioned about a typical Sunday. When I came here, I was initially told that there were 10 memory levels. And I was looking at the system and I was exploring after much further exploration. I realized there are quite a few more memory levels. There are memory banks, and then there's memories levels within those banks. So there are at least 300 memory levels total. And within those, I can set all sorts of combinations. So
wow.
the possibilities really are limitless. It's far more than I need. I try to take advantage as much of that as possible with my own personal things that I like to do. But it's plenty of memory for 5 to 10 organists at least.
Wow. Well, that sounds amazing. It frankly also sounds like you're playing half instrument, half computer.
A little bit, and sometimes I have to write some sheets of paper what I have marked for these memory levels, and so I have to be very organized in that way.
Oh, I get it. Organized.
Well, I wasn't aiming for that, but thanks for bringing that up. So.
Well, Ben, I really appreciate it. I appreciate you joining us, and I hope that those of you who have heard will give Ben a shout out and a thank you for joining us this morning. Next week, we have State Senator Morgan McGarvey joining us for a Thursday morning conversation. So if you would like to see him, I encourage you to tune in next week. Leave any questions or comments you'd like to share with Morgan in the comments below this broadcast, and I'll be happy to relay them and share them. Otherwise, thank you, Ben, so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Sure. We'll see you all a little bit later. Bye.